Hello everyone. Today I am dealing with the topic nutrition for the pregnancy. As you all know that in pregnancy nutrition plays an important role physically as well as mentally. So now moving ahead, what are the right way for the pregnancy? What are the right things you have to do during the pregnancy? 40 weeks of the pregnancy are a magical time, keeping a healthy lifestyle throughout the pregnancy as well as before and after. Important steps to a healthy pregnancy includes eating a balanced diet, enjoying the light regular physical activity, gaining the right amount of the weight, taking a vitamin and the mineral supplementation if recommended by the physician. Now, unhealthy eating trends includes irregular meal time, craving for sweet snack or drinks, high fat food intake, imbalanced meal. So, in modernicity, these very often people include these trends. So, I recommend or I advise, please reduce these trends. Optimal weight gain during the pregnancy. So, first of all, you have to know about the normal BMI. What is the normal BMI? Is that 18.5 to 24.9. So if it is less than, it lies under the underweight. If it is greater than, it lies over. It is called as the overweight. If it is the BMI is less than 30, it is known as the obesity. You are obese. So it's a chart, you can see that. Now dealing with the first trimester, at the time of the rapid cell division, it's a time of this rapid cell division, organ development, preparation for the demands of the rapid fetal growth that occur during second and third trimester. So critical nutrients during this phase includes protein, folic acid, vitamin B12, zinc. So these are the nutrients you have to include in this phase, that is first trimester. Now moving second and third trimester, energy intake is especially important since 90% of the fetal growth occurs during the last half of the gestation. Now what are the nutrients you have to include in this phase is protein, iron, calcium, magnesium, vitamin B, omega-3 fatty acids or DHA. So these are the nutrients you have to include in your in your second and third trimester. Now the energy requirements during the pregnancy is second trimester which have to be added with the 360 kilocalories. In third trimester you have to add it with the 470 kilocalories. In lactation you have to add it with the 500 kilocalories. This is recommended under the range which is given in the year 2005. Different energy requirements for the differences in the age, body size, pre-pregnancy weight and the lifestyle. So these are the parameters you have to take it in your mind. Now this tells us that the 300 kilocalories, if you add it, it doesn't make any complications. It will helpful in your daily meal. That is steamed fish plus fruit, that is one slice, which is equal to the 240 kilocalories plus 60. So it will added the 300 kilocalories, which is more suitable for that. Now the regular meal time to get balance and the complete nutrients. So these include the complete nutrients. The chart, you can see it here. These are the fruits which helpful in your making the body with the full nutrients. Now your plate include these foods you have to add it in your daily meal. Now the carbohydrate, this is the first most thing, is that the RD for the pregnancy is that 50 to 60% you have to include a carbohydrate in your daily meal life, right? So what are the function is that main energy supply, promotes weight gain of the fetus, placenta and other maternal tissues. So what are the dietary resources is that rice, noodles, whole grain breads and cereals, that is starch, milk, fruits, starchy vegetables. Now what are the precautions you have to take it in your mind? Limit refined sugar. Now moving ahead, protein. So RDA for that is 62.5 protein, you have to take it in your mind. And now during the lactation you have to take it in around 55 grams. Now what is the function for growth and maintenance of the tissues and overall metabolism? Greatest needs is in the third trimester. Dietary sources: meat, poultry, fish and eggs. Milk for vegetarians: soya bean milk and soya products, beans, nuts and legumes. What are the precautions you have to take it in your mind? Commercial protein supplements are not recommended. This is the most important thing. Now the protein you have to take a per day, 2 to 4 servings per day, you have to take it in your mind. 14 grams per servings you have to so these are the it's a chart from where you can see it. The milk and the dairy products, which include the 7 gram of the protein, so you have to take a 1 glass milk daily. 4 rounded tablespoon powdered milk, it can be in the powdered milk form also. Slices of cheese and etc. So here 60 to 65 gram protein. So these are the examples from where in this chart you can see it, that these include the 60 to 65 gram of the proteins. Now what are the healthy choices you have to take it in your mind is that take a fish twice in a week. If you are a non-vegetarian, take a most beans and the soya products. As I have to first of all I say that soya products are the major contents of the protein. So if you are a vegetarian, you take it in your daily meal, more about the soya products. Priority fresh foods, use natural species, herbs and less seasoning in the cooking. So what you have to reduce it in your meal is that red meat, preserved foods, etc. Now moving towards fat. RDA for the fat is that second trimester is 54 to 82 gram per day, third trimester 57 to 85 gram per day. Saturated form, which should be less than 10%, monounsaturated form fat, which is 12 to 15%, polyunsaturated fat, which should be 5 to 7%. What is the function of that? Fat deposits in the fetus increases from 2% at mid-pregnancy to almost 12% at term. Now the fat omega-3, which is also known as the PUFA, it is important for the fetal's brain and the eye development. Take at least 8 to 12 ounces, which is equal to the 240 to 360 gram per each week. So what are the sources? You can see it here. Omega-3 fatty acids, which have the good sources as flax seeds, canola oil, deep sea coated fish, omega-3 enriched eggs, fish oil, pulses, which is beans, dal, nuts, seeds, walnut, linseeds, etc. So healthy fat choice is that choose healthy fat which is in the form of the vegetable oil or fish. Reduce fried foods intake, fatty foods, high in saturated fats, cholesterol, which known as the internal organs, skin of the chicken, egg yolk, seafoods. You have to take it in your mind that you have to reduce it there. Reduce trans fat food sources. This is the most important part. You have to keep it in your mind during pregnancy. Cake, fast foods or creamy biscuits, you have to avoid it. So it's a major important parts. Now avoid empty calories food choices. First of all, you have to take it in your mind is that empty calories, which means high energy foods with little nutrition value. Some are the examples: added sugars, solid fats, which is soft drinks, desserts, sweets, sugary beverages are the foods, fried foods, cheese, whole milk and or fatty meats. So these are the examples. From there you can see it. Look for the choices that are low fat, fat free, unsweetened or with no added sugars. They have fewer or no empty calories. Now moving with the iron. So what is the RD for the pregnancy? For the iron is that 27 milligram per day. What is the function? It carries oxygen to cells development and for infants iron storage. Inadequate intake, it leads to anemia, pale face, tired. Measure through hemoglobin level, it should be less than 10.4 gram per DL. So what have to recommended is that prenatal supplements contain 27 milligram, and the excessive use of iron, it leads to the constipation. I have to say that iron is the major important part for the women's. So you have to keep it in your mind that you have to take iron daily. Heme iron or non-heme iron. Heme iron, these are the part of the iron. Heme iron and non-heme iron. The difference is that in their absorption. It has the greatest absorption around 25%, and non-heme iron has the less than 25% absorption. So heme iron, which have the greatest source, they are the sources from the animal, and non-heme irons, they have the sources from the plants. Factors affect iron bioavailability. So these, it's a chart, you can see it. We have to take meat, poultry or fish together with the vegetable and fruits, and what you have to avoid with the coffee, tea, etc. So these are the dietary sources of the iron, from where you can see it, the range of the beef liver, clams, kidney beans, dried peaches, sunflowers. You have to what are the servings you have to take it in. Now moving ahead, vitamin C. What is the RD for the vitamin C is that 80 milligram per dl, and for the lactation 95 milligram per dl, right? What is the function? Aids in the formulation of the connective tissues and the vascular functioning, enhance iron absorption. So, and dietary sources, vegetable and the fruits, citrus, tomatoes, strawberries, potatoes, broccoli, leafy greens. So what we have to what the physician recommended you is that supplements should take together with the iron supplements. You have to take the vitamin C along with the iron, so you have to take it in your mind. Folic acid or folate, right? Now it's a 600 microgram in the during the pregnancy, 500 microgram you have to take it in during the lactation. What is the function? Vitamin B, which is also known as the water soluble, for synthesis, nucleotide and cell division to prevent serious birth defects, which lead the neural tubal defects, cleft lip, congenital heart disease, which has an inadequate intake, it will leads these type of diseases. Diet alone, if you take diet alone, it will lead to complications. So dietary sources of the folate is that complete your meal with the vegetables and the fruits, that is 3 main meal. Here you can see it, right? Broccoli, cauliflower. Now moving with the calcium. Calcium RDA is that 1000 milligram per day you have to take it. Function involved in mineralization of the bones and the teeth, energy and cell production, fetal bone and teeth calcification primarily occurs in the last trimester of the pregnancy. Inadequate intake, demineralization of the mother bones and teeth may occur. Recommended calcium supplementation is recommended for those that are deficient in calcium less than 900 milligram per day. Adolescent have pre-pregnancy hypertension, history of preeclampsia. Now the dietary sources of the calcium is that they from where you can get from what are the sources of the calcium. So from that is milk, yogurt, cheese, ice cream, can or calcium fortified foods, broccoli, tofu, soya beans, black dyed peas. So these are the some dietary sources of the calcium, which is this, and here the serving size is also given, so from there you can see it. Now the factors affecting calcium absorption. What are the factors which affect the calcium absorption is that if you have to reduce if you see that which affects the calcium absorption is that you have to reduce the snack, junk foods, processed meats, preserved foods, cold drinks, etc. You have to take it in your mind. Now moving with the caffeine intake. Moderate intake, which is less than 300 milligram per day, 2 to 3 servings consumption not linked to adverse effects on pregnancy. High intake, that is greater than 500 milligram per day. What are the side effects? Decreased bioavailability of the iron, calcium and zinc. What are the precautions? Caffeine does pass into the breast milk. Consumption during lactation should be limited. So if you take high caffeine, 6 to 18 servings consumption is linked, which is linked to the increased risk of first trimester spontaneous abortions, spontaneous abortion it will lead to. Zinc. So what are the RD for the zinc is that first trimester you have to take 5.5 milligram, third trimester, in second trimester 7 milligram, third trimester you have to take it 10 milligram, lactation, during lactation 9.5 milligram. What is the function? Synthesis of nucleic acids, DNA and the RNA, important in reproduction. Inadequate intake, which leads to few cases report severe human zinc deficiency in pregnancy, lead to major obstetric complications and congenital malformation in the fetus. Diet, vegetarians may need more zinc. Now what are the dietary sources of the zinc is that beef, lamb, oysters, shellfish, black eyed peas, chicken, green peas, milk, yogurt. So these are the serving size. You have to keep it in your mind, and it would be excellent if you take more than 4 milligram. Iodine requirement increased to provide the needs of the fetus, to compensate for the increased loss of iodine in the urine due to increased renal clearance, to prevent hypothyroidism of the mother and the fetus during pregnancy, that is risk of the brain damage. 3.5 microgram per day per kg per day, or 200 microgram per day. Food sources: seaweed, fish, eggs, meat, milk, dried legumes, dried vegetables, and fruits. So it is all about the iodine. Now moving towards vitamin A. Vitamin A, most pregnant women do not need supplemental vitamin A, essential for embryogenesis, growth, and epithelial differentiation. High doses, which leads to retinol, might relate with the birth defects, that is night blindness, right? So vitamin A is also playing the major important role during pregnancy. So now what are the reminders we have to keep it in your mind is that don't rely on supplements to make up for an unhealthy diet. Most pregnant women are recommended to take a prenatal vitamin and mineral supplement every day in addition to eating a healthy diet. Taking a supplement ensures that you and your baby get enough important nutrients like folic acid and iron, but don't overdo it. Taking extra can be harmful for you and your baby. Vitamin and mineral supplements cannot replace a healthy diet. So these are the reminders you have to keep it in your mind, and which leads to complications of the pregnancy that may impact nutritional status, that is nausea and the vomiting, constipation, food safety, foodborne illness, high risk getting sick from eating unsafe food. Pregnant mother have low ability to fight off infection, unborn baby's immune system is not fully developed, increased risk of miscarriage or premature delivery. So you have to see it that what are the complications during the pregnancy. So you have to keep it in your mind. Nausea and vomiting, how you get this nausea and vomiting and how you can avoid it. Small and frequent meal, eat dry and cold foods, add ginger into meal, sniff lemon, suck on candy, supplement with vitamin B6, avoid spicy, acidic foods and strong odors, low fat diet, avoid caffeine, drink plenty of fluids to avoid dehydration. So these are the points, some points which relate to the nausea and vomiting, which can be somewhat you can reduce it or you can avoid with. Now what are the foods to avoid it? Raw or unpasteurized milk, raw or uncooked fish or shellfish, raw or partially cooked eggs. Mercury can harm the developing nervous system in an unborn child or young baby. Choices that are lower in the mercury include salmon, trout, pollock, and the catfish. Avoid eat fish high in mercury like shark, swordfish, tilefish, and king mackerel. So these are the foods you have to avoid it. Constipation is a major important thing in during pregnancy. You have to face it. Foods high in dietary fibers include cereals, breads, fruits, and vegetables. Choose high fiber snacks such as whole grain, bread, biscuits or fruits rather than sweets, creamy biscuits or cake. Adequate fluids also leads to constipation. Also avoid the constipation. If you have much more fibers in your dietary, you can avoid the constipation. So what are the conclusions from that is the summary of this is: pregnant mother are encouraged to get a balanced diet to ensure sufficient nutrients for fetal growth and development. Reduce unhealthy food choices such as high refined sugar beverages, or the foods empty nutrient dense calorie, high saturated fat, deep fried foods, coconut milk, and salty foods, processed, preserved, or canned foods. Those extra nutrients that essentially included extra energy, protein, healthy fat, variety vegetables and the fruits, milk, that is calcium in the form of the calcium, adequate fluid include. Now this is the pie chart. You can this is the chart or this is the pyramid you can deal with. So here you can clearly see that what are the foods you have to take it, or you have to follow the rules and regulations during the pregnancy for the healthy pregnancy. So now, thank you.